Hello, Illumineers, and welcome to Let's Talk Lorcana, your weekly Lorcana live show here on the Illumineers YouTube channel. My name is Brandon, also known as B24. I'm one of the co-hosts weekly here for you guys, and of course, I am joined by the host Liam from the Illumineers.
Hi, you are so good at that intro. I'm just glad you take it. Has it been a week already since our last show?
It has, and we got last show off because last show was the women's rounds table. So I've missed being here talking on Monday nights with you, Liam, specifically. So I'm excited to kind of be back. There's some things that have happened this week, some events, some things good, some things not so good, I think. But some interesting things to talk about this evening. If you didn't watch the women's roundtable thing last week, I do recommend it though. Had a lot of really cool guests there. But yeah,
a lot of first time people to the show. So if you enjoy looking for various people to connect with in the Lorcana community, there's some great folks there. I appreciate that.
and I have to shout out Erin in the chat. Erin usually also with us, Liam's wife, of course, but they do have a child, Olena, and she doesn't want to go to sleep right now or most nights. So she is out trying to put Olena to sleep, and if she can get her there, then maybe Erin will join us later, which would be really nice. But I see her talking in chat about it, so
yeah, I'm sure it'll happen eventually. The question is how long.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is it was nice taking a week off, but I did miss chatting with you. But plenty to talk about this week, though. Again, as you indicated, some bittersweet news. We'll talk about, or not just bitter news, just sad news. We'll talk about that in a moment. But we are also going to talk about some other stuff besides Citizens of Lorcana. We're going to talk about GameStop. There was a big tournament in Wisconsin, which we'll talk about. Maybe some D23 stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny, Brandon. There are some weeks where, like on Saturday or Sunday, I'm like, man, nothing happened this week. I feel like we've got nothing to talk about, and then I rack my brain just a little bit, and I'm like, oh no, all these.
There's actually, yeah. Sometimes it's a lot of little things, like there's not always something super super big that happens in the community. It's just a lot of little, like, I don't know. You mentioned the D23 thing before the show, and I'd already completely forgot that had happened, and I didn't go to any of the GameStop stuff. I didn't see a lot of great turnouts and results for it, but even something like that was just kind of flew under the radar for me this week because it wasn't any, I wouldn't call it major Lorcana news, but even on what these seemingly slow weeks, there's usually a lot that happens in the community.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I in the interest of, I do want to get to our first guest here in a few moments. So, and I see him in the green room, and I'm concerned you're not driving, are you, James, in the green room? No, James says no. Before we bring in James and get to some of our other stuff, maybe we should really quickly just kind of talk about Citizens of Lorcana and why we're talking about them this week.
Yeah, I actually think this is an extremely important topic. So for anybody that doesn't know, Citizens of Lorcana is a podcast. I would say one of the first podcasts for Lorcana that came out after sort of the global public announcement that the game was going to be released in, I guess it was late 2021, probably. Back in D23, I think, was when it was announced. They have two co-hosts, Jared and James. Occasionally, another host, Adara, would join them on their show as well. And if you're newer to the Lorcana community, you may not know who they are, or you may not understand sort of the weight that they carry as this Mount Rushmore of early content creation for the Lorcana community. Because to kind of set a stage, if you will, for what it was like back in the early days. I sound like an old man right now, but what it was like back in my day.
Remembers.
There wasn't a whole lot of content being made, and even there wasn't an official Discord. There were other Discords that had been made that a large portion of the community hung out in, but I always like to tell the story of when I found the game back in January of 2022. I immediately went to YouTube, went to Twitter, went to all the sites to see where content was being made and what I could find out about this game. And there just wasn't a lot. Like you, Liam, and Aaron were making content with the Illuminateers. Jonty from the Inkwell, who unfortunately no longer does Lorcana content, was making YouTube videos on there. And then like Citizens of Lorcana was doing a podcast. There were various other people, but like those are really sort of the big three that I think were kind of spearheading content in the Lorcana community and giving us something to talk about and be excited about. Because back then, we knew literally nothing about the game. We knew the 7 cards that came out of D23. We had no idea what the rules were for the game, like in any capacity. At certain points, we didn't even know, what the ink colors were. We knew virtually nothing. And Citizens of Lorcana, as the podcast, was one of the people that gave us content and community to sort of like build around for the game, and especially over on Twitter. Jared ran the still runs the Citizens of Lorcana Twitter account or X account, and for a long time was doing like a meme a day, essentially, that a lot of people found and really loved. So that's kind of a long explanation for reasons that you should care about seeing James and Jared here tonight, because I genuinely, like, with my full heart, believe that the community wouldn't look like it does today and wouldn't be as big as it is now were it not for people like Citizens of Lorcana doing what they were doing early on in the community while we didn't even have a whole lot to make content on and talk about.
I couldn't say it any better. They really set the foundations in a lot of ways, the culture, and even set the tone, I bet, or helped Ravensburger set the tone for how they were going to interact with the community. And it was, I don't know, it was a special time. Rather than wax philosophical myself here, as I'm wont to do, we did invite both James and Jared on tonight, and unfortunately they couldn't be on at the same time because of prior commitments, some Lorcana commitments for one of them. So we have them at separate times. But first, here for the next 20 minutes or so, we do have James, aka Dan Regal. So I'm going to bring him in from the green room now. And hey, James.
Hey, James.
Hello. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah,
awesome.
We got you. Little bit of echo. I don't know if that's me or you, or I don't know. But James, thanks for joining us. I so much we could talk to you about, and unfortunately, we're going to do a lot of like our morning and talking a little bit more, about what Citizens means to everybody later. But I wanted to start, like, now that you're here, kind of asking you how Citizens of Lorcana got started, what things were like back then that prompted you to want to start this podcast, and what was your mission? Like, why do it?
So it started with Jared, who did it on his own for a few episodes, I think starting in September-ish of 2022. September, October, I think, was his first episode. He did like 3 or 4 episodes. And I listened to him, and of course I had interacted with him on Discord and on Twitter a little bit. And in one of the episodes, he just casually dropped that maybe I should get a co-host. And so I think that was like in October maybe. And I thought about it for weeks on end because I had done a little bit of podcasting, and I wanted to talk about Lorcana. I was very excited for it, and I wanted to talk about it. So finally in December, I messaged him and I said, hey, I'm actually interested. What do you think? And he's like, let's get on Discord. Let's chat. So we hopped on a call. We chatted for 20 or 30 minutes. He's like, let's give this a try. We recorded at the end of the year, like on the 29th of December, and pushed the episode out very soon after. And basically we went every single week except for a few here and there. And then we skipped every other week near the end here. But we basically were every week since until this last week. And the goal, 1, we wanted to have fun. 2, we wanted to share our TCG journey, because for me, it was like basically brand new. I had played a few small TCGs back in the 90s, and he had played some recently, like My Hero, and that's about it. And so we wanted to, as TCG newbies, we wanted to share our journey and how and basically just make it like that, and just be a community of like, hey, there's going to be a lot of people coming in that are like us. Let's go ahead and like make everyone feel like they're part of this journey with us. and see how it goes. And that was kind of just our goal of the whole time, was to bring on guests, to have interviews, to talk about people in the wide world of the TCG space, and just get as much information as we could through us out to the community.
Yeah. I mean, a weekly show where you bring on guests and talk about Lorcana sounds great to me. But no, you and Jared were some of the originals, other than, you know, the Hobbies and Happiness kind of live streams on Fridays, which those of us back in the day remember. I'll always shout them out for that. But yeah, you all were really some of the original. What like you know, talking about mission, having people on, like what tone were you trying to set? Like what were you trying to do? How were you trying to, or did you even realize that you were kind of establishing the Lorcana content space?
We did not. Like I said, we just wanted to have fun talking about Lorcana. We just wanted to sit down and talk. We had so much energy and desire, and we were waiting for Lorcana. It was like the anticipation of it caused us to just be like, let's do something. And every week we sat down and we're like, let's talk to someone about collecting. Let's talk to someone about TCG terms. Let's talk to someone about this. And it was like it was both a gathering of knowledge for us to help us learn the TCG space, and a way for us to get out that energy and that buildup of anxiety and anticipation about what was to come. It was like all of those things combined. It was like basically, I think it was a perfect storm of all of those things to create this podcast. Because I mean, you guys know it's difficult to keep up a weekly schedule and be hyped and energetic and be ready for it like every single week. And the fact that we were able to go for that long, I think, was a testament to just how much excitement we had for Lorcana, which you know, has waned for some of us over time. But you know, like for me, I mean, the reason why I could only stay on for so long is I'm sitting here in my car in front of my local game store going into play tonight.
That's awesome.
What are you playing?
What am I playing? You know what? I built 3 decks and I still haven't decided, but
how many of them are Sapphire?
1.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, I might play I played last week. I played Emerald Amethyst discard, and I think I might play that again because it was pretty fun.
I need to try that build. I really need to try that build.
It's pretty fun.
So so one, everybody who's watching, you know, if you haven't, even if you like didn't listen to Citizens on the regular, you should go listen to the final episode, because it's just good and it's fun. And I don't know. And it's really amazing listening to you and Jared talk about like what you accomplished and memories and all that. But so everybody should go do that. But whether or not you're going to listen to, I'm going to ask you some of the questions that were in there, because I think they're fun. What is your favorite memory from your podcast?
So you were there. It was Gamma. We went to Gamma Expo before the game came out in April of 23, and it was April, right? I think it was April.
Yeah.
But it was Jared and I went as the Citizens of Lorcana. You went for the Illumineers, and I think we were the only weirdos there who went there for a game.
Yeah.
Everyone else was there because it's an industry event for store owners and distributors, and they allow media now. So we went as media. And
we're like, can we sneak in as media?
Right, and it's a new thing they allow. So yes, you can go as media. It's just, and then we even had like the initial meetup, and the very first thing was like for all the media people had to attend. And it's like, okay, this is why you're here, so don't screw it up, or media won't be able to come anymore.
Yeah.
But we were there, and it was such an amazing experience because we got to play the game with real cards for the very first time. We got to meet and talk to Steve and Ryan and production people and all of these different people that work for Ravensburger. There was, I think, eventually throughout the week, throughout the few days, Philip Franke showed up, who is head of global games, and Stefan showed up, who was CEO of Ravensburger North America. Basically, bigwigs showed up and were able to just sit and chat with us. And that kind of experience just helped me to form the opinion of the people making the game, how much they were invested in it and how much they loved it. And nothing I have seen in any conversation with anyone that works there has changed my opinion from that point.
Yeah. Should we mention the worst Lorcana game I've ever played at
I was gonna say it. I was gonna say it's also where we learned that Liam is a cheater, because
Right.
he
Yes. We hobbled together some setup of being able to live stream with proxies, and we played a 3-player game, and it was a load of fun. Everyone yelled at me for riffle shuffling. I'm like, these are Pokemon cards with proxies. They're not worth anything. It doesn't matter, but I still got yelled at. And I have since learned, of course, how to shuffle correctly. So don't worry, everyone. Liam got caught cheating, and Jared, I think, won anyway, like he usually does. So that's basically what happened. It's kind of like, I get called out, Liam gets called out, Jared wins.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
I remember we were all so excited to just like eat up any news and information, live stream, anything you guys were able to put together for that. Like I have vivid memories of sitting watching the live stream of you guys playing on the hotel table or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then little things that happened during the convention, like the floor with all of the dealers opened up after a day or two. I think it was on the second day, and then we were out there hanging out with the booth and being able to take pictures of stuff. And there was like, and then at one point, Ryan is there, and he just pulls out of his pocket. He's like, "You guys want to see these?" And it was foils of cards, and it was like the first foils we had seen. It was just amazing little things like that just happened for those few days, and it was such an amazing experience, and really, like I said, just set the tone for how I would feel about being a content creator going forward, and the love that goes back and forth in this game between the players and the people who make it.
Something you said about the tone and your opinion of the employees and all that. One of the things that I remember in terms of like your and Jared's approach, and I tried to emulate the same thing, but it was that you all were there not to like get numbers, not to for yourself. It was, you were literally there, and you all spent money to go to be like the ambassadors for the community, the eyes and ears of the community, looking for new spoilers and trying to get more information, for all of these people, like Brandon said, who were just eager to soak up anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then even, to the Ravensburger employees were there, being willing to chat with them about what you thought the community wanted, what you thought the community needed. And that really, really struck me, and to me that I always, I kind of internalized that that's what Citizens of Lorcana, the podcast and what you all were about. It was about, service to the community. And even though you were doing it because you wanted to have fun, you were doing it because you wanted to bring something to the space. Anyway, I loved that about them.
That may have been informed a bit by my history as a podcaster, which mainly was the work I do for the San Diego Comic-Con unofficial blog. Years to put together this website, Twitter, and podcast for free, and it's all about gathering information and then putting it out for people who go to Comic-Con to use. So it may have been that just that kind of permeates how I feel about content creation. Is it's all about getting information and then sharing it and making sure that people are going to have the best experience possible. And if I can help do that, I will do what I can to help.
It really showed. I don't know. It's one of the lasting impacts on the community.
But like you said, it was also a whole bunch of fun. Seeing the cards in the demo deck, seeing the 6 new cards, and then we're like, okay, you take these 2, and you get these 2, and you get these 2, and we'll post all of them, and we'll each get 2 cards to post. So, and then we could just post them all after we vote. It was just it was so much fun trying to work all that out and post the cards, and it was just great.
Do you remember yours?
Was one of mine Ariel, or
I think I had Ariel on Human Legs.
You might have had Ariel.
I don't remember.
Christoph, maybe? I don't know.
Christoph
Something.
Friends was another one that was revealed that weekend.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Was Pegasus one?
Pegasus.
I don't think so.
The support.
No. I don't think so.
Or no, maybe it was the minus strength one. Maximus.
Maximus.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Maximus. That was Maximus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yep.
Those were the days.
There's one other person who I think remembers the days, and is one of the older Lorcana content creators in the community too. A friend of yours, James, I think. You see him pretty often, but I wanted to invite him in to ask him what his opinion was of Citizens' impact on the community. So excited to welcome in returning guest Eric Switzer from The Gamer.
You let him in?
Eric!
Heidi ho!
Yeah, we haven't been in the green room for a while. Just hanging out.
I was actually gonna go play with James today, but I heard he was bringing a blue deck, so I stayed home.
Just one. It sounds like you have a 33% chance of him playing it. But, even that might be too.
We
high.
all know what he's gonna do. What an end of an era, huh? What an end of an era.
Yeah, feels like it.
I like to call myself the unofficial fourth host of Citizens of Lorcana. No one else likes when I say that, but I'm going to keep saying it.
I like it. He was Eric. I think what you were on more often than anyone else, basically.
Yeah.
So
I must have done it 5 times. I think at least.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. Probably. So everybody knows Eric. In case you're like the one person watching who doesn't, Eric writes about Lorcana for The Gamer, I think the online publication that was covering Lorcana before anybody else. Many scoops coming from The Gamer, a lot of great information, and you should definitely follow Eric. But Eric, you've been around since like day one as well. You saw Citizens of Lorcana come, and now you're kind of seeing them go. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Citizens and their impact on the community?
Yeah, I mean, James and I met before the game came out in the early days of the podcast and the early days of coverage on the site, and I just really admire how long these guys have been able to do that show, and I also think it's so cool to just sort of what James was talking about, his journey in TCGs, the perspective those two had, and their willingness to share going to a TCG and LCS for the first time, playing a first set champ, and all these experiences that like maybe other people don't want to talk about, maybe feel like embarrassed to be like newbies. And I think like one of the most valuable things about their show was just being able to say, hey, we're brand new to this, because a lot of Lorcana players are. So many Lorcana players are. It's so many people's first TCG, and we hear that all the time. And I think it was really cool that they had a like meta perspective, a competitive perspective from two guys that are just like figuring this out and like very openly sharing their experiences. So that was my favorite thing about the show. You guys were talking about Gamma earlier. I actually tried to hire both of them at the Gamer to cover Gamma for us. I think they didn't want to get under my editorial thumb, so they ended up declining. But there was almost the Gamer Citizens of Lorcana collab during that Gamma weekend.
So that's where it started.
I might be able to talk, but I don't write so good.
That's why they're editors. That's why editors exist. James, I know you're only here for another like 2 more minutes, if that, before you need to go play.
I told the TO to come and get me when it was time. So I have until they come and like, where are you? It's time to go.
Any other memories for you that stand out, or episodes that people should go back and listen to?
They had Steve on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had Steve on one episode, and we have Ryan Miller on the other, the two co-creators of the game. Those were our epic, like, big gets. That was Jared's goal for the entirety of like 2024 was trying to get Steve and Ryan on, and we managed to get them both on within a few weeks of each other, and those were epic. So go listen to those. Obviously, I mean, he's sitting here, so I have to say you should listen to some of the episodes with Eric. Or just make sure those are the ones you avoid, whichever way you want to go.
Yeah, that's fair. Our big set champ epic was that was a pretty fun episode going through.
That was a fun one.
Set champs, yeah.
Where we did Eric pooped out on one of them, but I did 7 set champs in 2 weekends, and Eric did 6. But he has the bragging rights because he won 4 of them in the first weekend. So he was the first person to have a play set of stitches, and I got 1 out of the 7. But I got the 1, which was the most important thing, was getting the 1.
The one he got, he dropped.
Yeah.
Right? In top 4, he dropped. So we could go try to get another one.
Oh, that's funny.
That's amazing.
Could have gotten the mat. The
champion. He could have.
I thought you meant he like dropped it on the ground. I was like, oh dear, that's
he dropped the card.
That's unfortunate. I've seen it. Who isn't it who spiked like one of the Baymaxes?
Zach Bivens.
Oh, Zach Bivens just like spiked his
He
Baymax.
didn't mean to spike it, but that he did right after Continentals. He was like, well, that's $10,000 on the ground. I was like, yeah, you might want to think about that. Brandon was there.
It's a power.
Yeah,
it's a power move.
That's right. Bivens is like, I don't need this.
I'm gonna get another.
Yeah, it's no big deal. It's not a golden Mickey. I don't need it.
You definitely got to shout out Adara too, right, James?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we had Adara on as a guest pretty early on, and at the end of the episode, after we were done, Jared and I stayed on. We're like, hey, we need to invite her to be a co-host regularly, right? Because she was awesome. And he's like, yeah, we do. So we asked her, and she's like, yeah, for sure, anytime I have time. And unfortunately, she didn't have time too often, but we had her on whenever we could. We made sure she was always there for the card reveals that we did. And it was just really nice having that extra voice come on and have a different idea, because she's the same as us. It was her first, I don't know if it was her first TCG, but she definitely wasn't a TCG veteran. And she was only planning to collect. And then once she saw the rules and the gameplay, she's like, yeah, I'm all in on playing too. So,
and now she's a judge.
Judge.
A very, very highly respected and experienced judge. She was just a wonderful voice to add to the podcast, and I don't know, it was just a great dynamic that the three of you shared. Before you go, James, because I'm fully expecting you to see like an arm come in and yank you out of the car,
right?
Any moment. If there's one like lasting impact, like one thing that you hope citizens gave to the community, like one thing that you hope endures, like what is that thing? What's your legacy?
Well, I've heard some people say that the tone of the community overall, is the way that it's more of a positive vibe, and the saying, the rising tide lifts all boats. I hope that we were a part of the formation of the bedrock of a community that never devolves into something toxic. That the standard, even though obviously there is going to be toxic things that happen, there may be toxic people now and then, but I hope that there's a standard that everyone comes in, gets the vibe for it, a feeling for, that helps keep Lorcana this positive, moving forward community that never lacks for fun and engagement, creativity, all the things that you would hope would be lasting for as long as possible, forever, in a community around a trading card game based on Disney characters.
Yeah, here.
I'm just digesting.
No, I remember a lot of those conversations, James, at the very beginning, and the intentionality behind behind that hope and that sentiment to create this community where so many of us who are new to TCGs felt welcomed and included. I remember back in the days when like any new content creator entered the space, that they would get a personal welcome from y'all as citizens of Lorcana, from other content creators in the space. And yeah, just fostering that community and that community vibe that we all have come to know and love. And I think one of the reasons that people stick around this game. So
I would like to say that 99.9% of that vibe, especially on Twitter, was all Jared. As I mentioned in the podcast, I show up and talk. I do a little bit of the planning. We do have conversations about things. My opinion is input into things, but Jared runs the Twitter. It's his Twitter, and Jared was and is an amazing positive force in the content creation space for Lorcana, and as a Lorcana fan, he was the reason for at least I think the first year that every single new content creator that came into the space got a welcome, got a DM, got a hey, we're to help. If you need anything, let us know. He is in my opinion, he is the giant of the Lorcana content creating community. I am just lucky enough to be tagging along and being able to talk about the things. So you're going to have him on later. He'll probably be embarrassed that Jared's the man. I mean, he is amazing, and it's sad that life turns where he had to be an adult and do the adult things and can't have the fun with the Lorcana stuff as much anymore. But that's what happens. But for the time that he was the best and he was the greatest. So that's probably the saddest part of this, is that I won't be able to sit and chat with Jared every week on the podcast. I'll just have to send him messages on Discord now regularly in order to get that fixed.
Well, until some time goes by and you all get the itch and COFL 2.0 launches.
Right.
Plant that seed. Well, James, thanks so much. We're gonna, man, I hope you go crush people at League. And
me too.
Yeah, right. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us. And I don't know, congratulations on an epic run. 2 years is a long time, especially weekly, and can't thank you enough for what you did for the community.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
James. Thanks.
Yeah. Eric, I know you have to leave here in just a minute. Like you said, it coming on end of an era.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of just wanted to say one more thing. It's really amazing how much history the Lorcana community has. We think about the game as being so young. We're not even 2 years in yet, and in the TCG space, that's nothing. But when we look at the community that's formed around it, there's twice as much history. I mean, James said that show started in 2022, and so much of what I do on the Gamer is about keeping track of the history of the game, making a record of the big moments in the game. But that's a lot of the meta, the competitive, the product, the releases. And I don't have as much opportunity to keep track of the community, of the creators. And I think it's really important to remember and to have that as part of our history forever. And I think Citizens of Lorcana is a really important part of that history, and I don't want us to forget it. So super proud about the small way I could be part of it. And those guys are both really close friends of mine. So, and they're not going anywhere, the podcast is, but they're still going to be active. They're still playing the game. So yeah. So I really appreciate you letting me come in and gush about how much I love those guys a little bit and taking the time, Liam and Aaron, to make a special moment to remember. I think it's important that we do that. So thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And as Brandon was talking about early in this episode, it's gonna sound like we're beating it at horse here, but the foundation that they laid way back when, I don't think anybody who has come to the game, later and maybe not listened to Citizens understands the mark that they made on the Lorcana community and the way that they shaped the community, Ravensburger's interaction with the community. There's a lot of things that Ravensburger does now, probably, that they do because of things that Citizens of Lorcana, the podcast, said, either in person at Gamma or in their episodes or online. So like they really helped shape this game in a way that few other content creators did. But I will lump you in there, Eric, because you have been around doing a similar thing since day one.
Yeah. From a very different angle, right? So and like I said, it's not so much part of my job to cover you guys, to cover the creators and the community, and so I hope that we can find a way to always remember our history as creators too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, Eric, I appreciate you. Before I know you until now, but before you go, any big projects coming up that people should be looking out for that the gamer's working on?
Ooh, we're
that you're allowed to
all
talk about.
Right. That's always the thing, right? Yeah, we're all in this kind of place right now where we're like, where's the communication? What's happening next? What's going on? And I don't have any information to share, and I just want to say I don't think we're gonna have to wait forever. I really am hopeful that there's some communication coming, and I think we saw a little bit of that today with the new organized play. I forgot what the title was.
Lorcana Play Hub.
Yeah. There was a Discord.
Cooper starting.
Cooper.
The director.
Cooper,
manager.
Senior tournament operations manager.
There we go.
So right. So Cooper's has a new senior role, and Cooper messaged in the official Discord saying, "I'm going to be active. Like I'm going to be in the coming weeks or months or whatever. I'm going to be talking to the community." So that's like very promising.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So keep your eyes open.
Senior tournament operations manager.
Thank you, Rochelle.
From the source. That's excellent. Yeah, no, I agree. Super exciting. Always fun to see the team expand and the possibilities that unlocks. So very exciting. So Cooper, cool. If you're watching, if you're on the replay, welcome to the Lorcana community. Super excited to have you on board and to see what's coming. Yeah. This is this the acronym? The STOM.
The STOM.
Ooh. I like it.
Anyway, where's Steven? Steven's always good first, or Tom Senior. Yeah, I love it. Well, Eric, thanks so much for stopping by. This was awesome. You're always invited if you ever want to chat. Let us know. And if you all aren't following Eric on The Gamer or Eric on Twitter, you should. The write-ups on Lorcana are excellent, some of the best. What did I miss, Brandon, about how awesome Eric is?
I think you got it. I'm not talking because he has to go.
Yeah.
All right.
It was good to see you, Eric.
Take it easy, Eric.
Bye, Eric.
Yeah. Sorry, I knew you had to go.
Yeah, I was just like, I knew
Liam's bad at goodbyes.
I knew if I started talking, we were just gonna keep holding him longer, and I didn't know what he had after this, but I knew this was roughly the time that he said he needed to leave, so I didn't want to keep him.
You're great. You're great. Yeah. All right. Well, that's fun. For those watching, go back, listen to some of the old Citizens podcasts.
If anything, it would be a good and fun way to like get a scope or a lens into what it was like for those of us that were around, that early on. If you weren't also around
out in the wild before the Olaf release at Christmas of 2022, when we were all like,
"Yep,
what are we gonna talk?"
I wasn't even around then.
November of 2022 was an interesting month because we had D23 in September, and then I think the ink colors got released in like October, and I remember everybody was like freaking out because that happened. And then like there was nothing in November. So I actually feel like we should go listen to the Citizens. Can't remember what we were making. I think that was like when we were making like the 10 pirates we want to see videos. So
That's all there was.
but and then Olaf got released around Christmas time. It was like the Lorcana community Christmas gift that year, and it was amazing. We were all so excited. Anyway,
it was a wild time.
It was crazy, but it was so fun though.
Yeah,
it was. We were
all so full of like hope and excitement, and just like, not that we aren't now, but like just dreaming all of like what could have been, and making analysis videos on what like Floodborne was going to mean, and how wrong so many of us were. Like, all of the crazy things that we did to like just keep our excitement going.
Yeah.
It was it was so funny. Well, because one of the things that I miss about that time is like, now if somebody comes in the community, there's already an established group of people in various different sectors of the community for various different things. But like at that time specifically, there were so many people kind of coming in, and like we all were coming in at the same time, not knowing that we were all going to end up being like super close friends and knowing each other and things like that. And it's like there was no like established thing. We all just kind of showed up in this one space and was like, we all think this is really cool. And then we all just kind of got to know each other, as time went on, which was, you can't replicate that. You can't do that again,
Yeah, I feel like I do events for a living. So I feel like it's like this thing where we all showed, like, there was this giant empty hotel ballroom. And like at the beginning of it, like Jared walked in, and he was like this only person in this like 40,000 square foot ballroom. And then like one other person showed up, and then one other person showed up. And then there were just like 10 of us, and there are no tables or chairs. And we're all just standing around being like, hey, so this place seems kind of cool. And now like this place is completely packed, like shoulder to shoulder. We have this incredible community surrounding us. And I think a lot of us, those people who were standing around with no tables and chairs at the beginning, were like, yeah, this is the vibe. This is amazing. Like, this is what we had hoped for. And so it's really cool.
Yeah, I agree. All right. We are going to bring in Jared in a moment. And so we can talk with him more about Citizens in the early days and wax poetical. Let's talk about a couple things that happened this week, just for fun. First, GameStop. GameStop happened?
Question mark?
Did it? That's the question.
For those who aren't familiar with what we're talking about,
that was the thing.
Yeah, we got an announcement earlier in the week that said, hey, GameStops, there are certain, it wasn't all of them. There was like participating GameStops are hosting Lorcana nights, on Sundays. Yeah, Sundays. So check this here. You can scan this list. You can find a participating GameStop and go check it out. And yeah, which was a great idea. If the goal of a TCG is to meet people and sit down and play in person, there's no real easy way to play online right now. If you don't have an LGS that you're connected with, or if you don't have one in your area, most likely you have a GameStop because they're everywhere for now. And you can go there and you can meet people and you can create a friendship group and find a play group there. So what a great idea. Unfortunately, I don't know about you, Brandon, but I didn't hear of anybody successfully linking up with anybody at GameStop.
No, I kind of missed this announcement that it was happening at all. I saw a little bit of chatter about it in my LGS Discord because somebody was like, hey, apparently GameStop's doing this thing on Sunday. Maybe we should head out and check it. And I didn't go out on Sunday to look at it. But I heard from them that I don't think it happened. I don't think there was anything there. The little bit that I was able to find in various other Discords and social media platforms is like, I don't think I saw a single experience where somebody showed up to a GameStop and they either knew what they were talking about at all, or even if they did know, they had the stuff set up for it to even do it, like tables and chairs and things like that. So it all was kind of new to me. I was interested in the fact that it's happening at all because it must be something, it must be a way that Ravensburger is sort of partnering with GameStop, I'm assuming, or at least trying to. But I thought it was interesting that kind of the first run of this seemed to really not go well for anybody. I'd be interested to know if anybody's GameStop did actually run it and what it looked like, because there's just been so many stories and posts and things of people saying that it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I was gonna say, if you're watching or you are watching later, like send us a note if you had a successful GameStop meetup.
Mhm.
We want to hear about it. Post in the comments right now.
No, it's, I think that this in theory is really cool. I go back to like thinking about my mom when I was a kid trying to buy trading cards for most of my brothers because I didn't do any sort of TCG. But I don't think my mom would have necessarily tracked down like an LGS, gone into an
Mhm.
LGS, felt comfortable going into an LGS. And so I think this partnership with GameStop could actually be a really interesting opportunity for like this like entry point into a game, and where you might not necessarily have like the most competitive players playing at this kind of Sunday event. It is an easily accessible store for people who are not as experienced in gaming, like in board games, TCGs, like mostly video
Mhm.
games. And so I think it could be a really cool thing for growing the community if we can figure it out. So
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that front. Like, I'll just share from my experience growing up. Like, I collected a lot of Pokemon, collected a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh, watched those shows as well, and I didn't know LGSs existed. Like, I was young, obviously, so there's not much reason that I should have, but I don't think my parents did either. And
mhm.
so I was never like, other than my other friends my age who also collected those things, which there weren't very many of. There wasn't really uh, an opportunity for me to like meet other people with
Mhm.
a similar interests and learn how to play, those games and do anything like that. And it does make me think, well, I wonder if a, big brand store like GameStop, it was advertised somewhere like that, maybe my parents would have, brought me somewhere like that or would have even known about it in general. Cause I'm not sure they
Right.
would have I'm not even sure they knew that local game stores existed either. My only concern on that is that I know that, game stores have a very specific niche already and that they, host this area for people to come and play tabletop games primarily and purchase tabletop games, including trading card games. And I think that's super special. And I know that they spend a lot of time like cultivating their communities in those areas as well.
Mhm.
Um, and I just hope that like the GameStop thing doesn't step on that any, like I hope
Yeah.
I kind of wish that there was a path. I know it doesn't make sense really for like the GameStop business to do this, but I really wish there was a path for GameStop to be like, we host this thing on Sundays, come play Lorcana. And when you come play Lorcana, they're like, here's this local game store, small business where there's going to be a lot
Mhm.
more people that play and engage in this game. If you want to
Yeah.
continue to do that, you should go there also. Um, that way that it kind of funnels into, the stores that are supporting Ravensburger in this game and things like that as well.
I totally sorry, and I should say like I totally agree with that. I think GameStop serves the purpose of being an entry point into the
Mhm.
community. Like I would love for there to continue to be support of LGSs for things like League, but if there was like starter deck or like,
Mhm.
single player deck, like an event at a GameStop that's an accessible thing so people can get bitten by the bug. And now it's like, okay, now you're in the community, and an LGS is going to have a more robust community than maybe like a GameStop is going to. Like, I think that that is a role that GameStop could play in building the
Mhm.
community, but not necessarily cannibalizing on LGSs and the community that we can build around our game stores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I agree. Yeah, 100%. There's a balance, and yeah, the way but there is a good symbiosis as you've highlighted that could exist. I think because especially if GameStops are leaning into other card games as well, which it sounds like based on somebody in the comments here. Based on what Dan is saying here in the comments, it sounds like they're leaning into a bunch, which from a business perspective, makes sense because I don't know if you've been following, but GameStop's not doing too well. So it looks like, this is an avenue that they can pursue with the popularity of some of these TCGs now. But, you cannot expect, the 2 GameStop employees that are on every day to learn all these TCGs, to be judges, to run actual events, to run leagues. So it's a great entry point, and there could be a way that LGSs send even a judge or representative to the game store to kind of facilitate these events, and then that serves. You can invite people back to the LGS as well, and so yeah.
I mean, I think not all of us were as lucky as Liam to grow up with an amazing LGS that actually, by the way, still exists to this day.
It's not the LGS anymore, though.
Liam grew up at is still around, which I think is amazing. But not having been so into gaming as a kid, like I had, you could not pay me money to tell you where my LGS was when I was growing up. But, my mom knew where the GameStop was. My mom knew where Target was. And so having an opportunity, and maybe at the GameStop, we have a flyer for our LGS. I mean, I don't know if that's like a thing they would do, but I don't know. Hopefully. It'd be cool. Pipeline. It's all about the pipeline.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, great idea. I think the consensus here is, it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, great idea. I think a little better communicate, and I think it's honestly a GameStop internal communication problem. So I don't know how much Ravensburger can help with that, but I think if the GameStops were aware and at least could talk to people about the direction that they're going, it'd be good. But not amazing execution this first time around. But fingers crossed.
We can only go up from here.
We can only go up from here.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. But obviously, always and forever support your LGS. But yeah. So we'll throw that out there too. Let's talk about one more thing before it's time for our other guest, and that's World Class Cards. They held a fun tournament this weekend, and I wanted to talk about them for a couple of reasons. We will take a look at the meta here, although it's
it makes me feel blue.
Yeah.
What shade of blue? Are you leaning more towards like a purpley blue, or are you kind of like a dull blue?
Definitely like a sapphire blue is probably what I was saying.
Sad blue. But heard great things about the event. One thing we have to note is World Class Cards as a TCG vendor and store are also launching this pro team, or they've launched it with some of the better Lorcana players out there, DKP, Aaron Rubin, Zan, a bunch of others. I'm missing, I shouldn't try to name them all because I'm going to miss a bunch. And O'Dale, there's a whole bunch. But so they're launching a team, and as part of that, they're trying to host some of these tournaments, and they're doing some fun things. Not only, did they invite some amazing players there. This is from Aladdin's Castle, Castro there, who supplied these pictures. So thanks for that. But they had some fun little things going on too. I found out they had a bounty out for any Golden Mickey winners. If you played against one, you got a pack of First Chapter. If you beat a Golden Mickey winner in the event, you got 3 packs of First Chapter.
Dang.
There were some enchanted raffles. Don't forget Kendall. There we go. So a fun thing. The other thing I like about it is SSG is doing some awesome stuff in Florida. CCS is doing awesome stuff in the Atlanta area. But there's other areas of the country where if you can't get on a plane, every weekend, you kind of miss out. So this was up in Wisconsin. And so for that region, if it's drivable for you, it's a cool event to go to. I don't know. I know we both of us, I think, Brandon, with what we had going on, and Aaron, I don't think we all got to follow it as much as we wanted to this weekend.
No, not really, to be honest with you. I'm not on certain socials as much anymore, where a lot of that stuff gets talked about as it's happening. So it's a lot easier for me to miss during the weekend. But
yeah. Let me pull up, but we will pull up a little bit because I know people are interested. Hey, what won? How did people do?
Shockingly, there's no sapphire amethyst.
Oh, this makes me want to throw up.
Oh, wait, there's yellow.
There's yellow way down there in the top 16. So this was it. And shout out to Sky, the winner. We'll take a look at his deck, but it's it could be one of a few variants here. I think this is the items. Yeah.
Yep.
Like any Sapphire list is going to be items in some capacity right now.
That's true. I mean, you do have Kiwi Birds, which is a little different, but Jim Hawkins is not a card I see in every build. So it's fun there, but but this was the winning list. I think the top 4 split, and so
they did on Sunday. I don't think they did on Saturday because there were two. There was a 5K on Saturday and a 5K on Sunday, I believe.
Got it. So yeah, Caroline in the green room saying Jim is a Sky special. So that's a fun note there. What are Disney famous cards? That's a good question. I'll talk about that in a minute. So here we go. This is the items build. And if you look at the meta, I mean, I don't know what the overall share of the tournament was, but yeah, blue good. Turns
Sapphire all the way down, basically, just different variations of it.
Yeah, kudos to Scott here.
And
for bringing in something.
we got Ruby Amethyst there too.
I know.
Steel Song alive.
Yeah, Steel Song
barely.
alive. The Troubadour splashing in there.
Troubadour and the is it Miss Bianca as well?
Yeah. Miss Bianca. There's a new card too, so it's mostly tried and true. We got the Rapunzel there too, or the Aurora.
Like
Rapunzel.
Yeah. She's so pretty.
Does Rapunzel things?
Yeah, she does do Rapunzel things.
Yeah. A few updates here, but kudos there for being brave enough to bring in something that isn't blue.
Hold up the Ruby Amethyst. Look, there's a Chernodog.
There's a Chernodog back in the 128 though. I don't know how high.
Never mind. Yeah, okay, but 16. Look at that. Click on the list.
Ruby Amethyst. There's one new card in this list. The Queen of Hearts.
Yeah. There she is. And this character
Ruby Amethyst never change.
Nope. There she is. One Medusa. Although Lady Tremaine working back in at 4. That's
and Medusa's down at 1.
Be King Undisputed.
Probably I imagine those are more vital to combat cards like Tamatoa over Madame Medusa, since Ruby Amethyst doesn't have access to Sapphire Coil.
That's fair. And the library's there, and so there we go. So that's the meta. Definitely take a look at the deck list. This was a stacked field. You saw some of the folks in the pictures, great players there. Not only did we have a lot of the world-class cards players, but Jonathan Lamb making an appearance, bunch of others. So there's the Chernodog list. It's way down there, but I mean, this is the meta, right?
Okay.
Let's take a look at one other list though here, because I'm looking at these. I'm like 515, 532, 4, and then here's one at 319, which is $200 cheaper, I think, than the average. So what is going on?
Many less Tamatoas, it looks like.
That's it. Yep. 2 less Tamatoas. We did the Cusco work back in here.
This is Banable's list, by the way, from Maelstrom.
Okay. Good note. Shout out to Banable for this. But so this is slightly different, a little bit more affordable. So if you're out there and you're like, I can't pull a third Tamatoa, here you go. Here's a list that did fairly well. And if it's built by Banable and Maelstrom, it can compete. So there you go. So that's about $200 cheaper than the average list in this colors. But
there's a $250.
That's true. $250 Sapphire Steel list.
Yeah, so this is Kiwi Birds. And only one of the Tamatoas. That's why it's coming in so light. But a little bit more Kiwi Birdie with the Cogsworths there.
Definitely a lot more aggressive.
Yeah. The Aurora there, Pluto, and then the Alice loves to give Pluto ward, make people run into it. So the more aggro variant. But good point, Aaron. Like $200 on this?
$250, I think is what it said. Yeah, it's not bad.
So again, for anybody out there's like I can't afford to compete in the meta right now. It is still expensive. I'm not saying
how affordable that Ruby Amethyst deck is.
$120.
It's the budget list.
Oh yeah.
Top 16 at WCC. There you go. There's the budget list. How much is even Trinidad is coming in at
It's
260.
more. What's
Yeah.
most expensive in Trinidad?
It's got to be the Rapunzels. It's got to be Rapunzels.
Yeah, the Rapunzels are like $50 each, roughly.
Yeah, I think that's where the money. I mean, Daisy and Lilo's have gone down quite a bit, I think.
They've gone in a lot. Oh, Daisy's about $8, more than I thought she was.
Yeah, but those Rapunzels. And if you're running this version of Rapunzel, it's even more.
Yeah, right.
It's way more, by the
That's
way.
pretty much the entire budget right there.
Those have increased in price.
I was gonna say they've gone. I mean, for the longest time during DLC season, they were sitting in like the 60, 70 range, like sub hundreds. And now both the Cinderella and the Rapunzels are
They're
higher.
like 200 last time I checked. I don't know if they're still there because it's been a while, but yeah, way higher.
They're up there for sure. And the Rapunzel's played. The Cinderella's not played as much anymore, and that's up there too. So if you're a collector, like I don't know, I don't take financial advice from us. There it is. We are people behind a monitor here who you should not take financial advice from. But I don't know. I don't know that they're going to go much lower.
Okay, there was a question in the chat that you said we'd get to.
Oh, Project Famous. Yeah. Where did that come up?
Oh yeah.
Somebody asked about Project Famous.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wait, Steven did.
Oh yeah, there it is. We also get Disney Famous cards to some members of ours out there.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw actually some of this pop up on a cell group on Facebook. What these are?
Backstory of Project Famous.
Backstory of Project Famous. So the original name for Disney Lorcana was Project Famous. And that is because the idea was originally like not hatched, but like they initially hashed it out in a bar called The Famous.
Oh yeah.
In Pasadena.
In Pasadena. It was in California somewhere. Pasadena sounds right.
It was either Pasadena or Burbank. Because we learned about this when we were at Lightbox.
Yeah.
And that's so why I'm thinking Pasadena is because Lightbox is Pasadena. Anyway, okay. Bar called Famous.
So originally
in the LA
project,
area.
And so for the longest time, that's what it was called. And then and that's all we kind of, that was the original name. But somehow these test cards got out recently, and I don't want to speculate on how or why or whatever, because they're probably not supposed to be in the wild, but nevertheless, they're out there. And you can see them now, and they're on different social media, but they have a backing that says Project Famous. And ostensibly those were some of the cards that were used very early on as like test cards or kind of proof of concept. And so World Class Cards has some, and it sounds like they were given away to some folks up at that event, which is kind of super cool because that's a piece of Lorcana history. And
Liam really wants one.
What a neat keepsake to have. But anyway, so that's cool.
Glendale. There you go.
Glendale. Look at that.
Steven with the stats.
Yeah. Anyway, so anything else on World Class Cards? What did I miss there? Cool event.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm excited that we have like a big kind of competitive event in the Midwest. Is that considered the Midwest? Wisconsin? Yes. Midwest?
Sure.
Why not?
Sure. Why not?
Northwest.
Great Lakes region.
It's not close to a lot of other big events. So
right. Yeah.
Covers
it's
a
kind of
portion of the country.
Yeah. Place where not many other events are right now. So so shout out to them for a fun event. And I believe they're doing another. I don't know if it's announced yet. I think there's another one coming up. I don't know. We got people in the chat who correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're in that area, definitely check it out. At the very least, you can go up there and meet some very great players, and it's a fun event. So 1937 fan, the famous bars in Glendale. Yep. And if anybody, 1937 fan would know if anybody would know. So there we go. All right. What else before we bring in our next guest, Brandon? A little behind schedule. Anything else we have to talk about news wise, or should we get right?
I'm blanking if there is.
Yeah, planning for more. Says WCC. Stay tuned. Yep. Stay tuned. Also, they've one more note on WCC. They also have a Metafy you can follow where you can learn from some of the best players. So There you go. Shut them out. All right. Before we bring in our next guest and get to the second half of the show, I do want to do a couple things. First off, I want to shout out Chris from Lorcana Chats. He was gracious enough to have us on a podcast. It's out there now.
Yeah.
You should go check it out. It was fun. He let us ramble for like this for ages.
Too long. This is what you have when you invite people who do their own podcast onto your podcast. It's like two people who do. It's just a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We all like to talk.
It is a lot. But definitely go check out Lorcana Chats. And then also, we're on the Muses, which is super fun. They have
Nice.
merch. We got a hat. So shout out to Lorcana Muses. As we say, and Brandon, I know you're the same. Like if you all are a team out there and you have merch,
Let us know.
let us know.
Yeah.
We got Infinity on the wall. We'll shout you out. We'll hang it up. We got plenty of space on our walls. And Brandon on his shelves.
Yeah,
So
Brandon needs
Yeah.
the next piece of merch. It must be a bucket hat.
bucket
I was about to
hat.
say is if you especially have a bucket hat, that's doubly increases the chances that I'll buy one. So
Absolutely. I'm getting a link to the Lorcana Chats here. I'm going to post that in a second. All right. And the other thing is, I just want to say, because we should say it every single episode.
I was like, you really got to get to our next guest, dude.
I know. I just want to shout out our patrons. Thanks so much for making the show happen. Like, this is not a cheap thing to run these weekly shows. There's subscriptions. There's all sorts of things. There's a bajillion-dollar camera over there. So thanks to everybody who helps make it happen. We appreciate you all. Check us out on Patreon. I'm going to do a studio tour sometime in the next week or so. All right. I don't know. Brandon, you want to introduce our next guest? Or
sure. I mean, I can if we're ready for him. Our next guest is the other half of Citizens of Lorcana, the Godfather, if you will, Jared.
Wow.
Hello,
Hey,
Jared.
everybody.
With the Oswald ears too. I love it.
That's right.
Trademark. Like, yeah, you have to.
Trade. Okay. Anyway.
Jared, man, thanks for joining us.
I posted on Twitter today, how long have you been asking me to come on your show?
Yeah, all the times.
All the times.
And then you say, well, just so you know, the door's always open. So here we are. We are.
Welcome, Jared.
Oh, thank you.
We're so happy to see you. It's always good to see your face.
Oh, it's good to be seen. Thanks for having me. And I don't know what more that I can say than what James and Eric already talked about earlier. I had my AirPods in and I was listening on my way home from work.
Yeah. I think we're all kind of like trying to figure out how to broach the subject of
you had
ending
some
again.
news this week. And so I guess let's just start by talking about the happy moments. What in your journey, for those who might have not heard the episode, or if you've changed your mind in the last week, because I do that frequently, what has been your favorite moment in this incredible journey, Jared?
That is really tough. That's like asking a parent who their favorite child is. I mean, honestly. But I will pick one of them. Yeah, well, I mean, gosh, how do you choose? So I'm sure James, I didn't listen to all what James said, but I have to go back to Gamma. I know it was probably talked about a lot, but just being there and having access to Steve, Ryan, the production team, being with Liam, being with James, getting our hands on the cards, it was just such a magical experience. And no comment. It was such a magical experience that, and we knew at the time that something like this was never going to happen again, because what are the odds that we just get to hang out with Steve and Ryan? It was never going to happen. And then to cap it off with Steve asking us if we wanted to play a multiplayer game with him, that was super cool. But yes, to back to your question, Aaron, I think about it all the time. Even listening earlier, I was like, did we really do the right thing? Like, ending the podcast, is that really the right thing? And I've been on this roller coaster probably for a few months now, where I've just been like, how much gas do I have left in the tank? And it's not that I don't want to continue doing it. It's just that the mental bandwidth just isn't there anymore. So like I said on the podcast, I'm not 100% closing the door on Citizens of the Lorcana. I think, Liam, you told James, maybe COFL 2.0 can come on the scene one of these days, but it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a while.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all hit that point in our lives, and I think what's beautiful about this game and games before it is it'll continue to grow and it'll be here when you're ready for it. That's something Liam always talks to me about in a little bit of like a smaller scope, is like the beautiful things about TCGs is you should have the opportunity to unplug when you need to, for your life, for your mental health, for your whatever is going on in your life. You should have that opportunity to be able to unplug and come back to the game when you're ready and when it fits your life, and the game and the community will still be there when you're ready for it. And we're always ready for Citizens.
No, you're absolutely right. And I feel like that's where it's at right now, is that I just need a break. I don't know if so. In the podcast, I explained the reason why is because I really got a fire lit under my butt this year that I needed to get out of debt. So I took on, a second job. I'm working 7 days a week, which I know is probably not healthy, but if I do that, I can be at a place where I can enjoy Lorcana without having that like anchor around my soul. So that's when I say, when I don't have the mental bandwidth, like just at the end of the day, it's exhausting. And it's not the actual, like this part is not the actual hard part. It's the editing. It's the lining up the guests. It's coming up with the outlines. It's the coming up with the thumbnails. It's coming up with the SEO. Like, it's all that stuff that goes into it. But if we were just to show up and talk about it, I could, maybe we should start live streaming like you guys.
Maybe. I mean,
I think Liam can attest that also requires a lot of work and scheduling ahead of time too. It's something that I don't think gets enough attention talking about in sort of this content creator space, and even just other areas where there's people that represent in some way, are a face in some capacity for the community, which is just that we are on all the time. There's constantly stuff that has to be done. It doesn't matter if you're running a Twitter account and that's the only thing that you're doing, or if you have a podcast, or if you're making YouTube videos or live streaming, whatever it is. Those of us that choose to do that, and it is a privilege for us to be able to do that, it's so much work, and we have to be on all the time. There is no taking a set off. There is no taking a break because you're burnt out of the game, especially just because of the way that the internet and holding people's attention works, where a lot of times I think it's easy for ourselves and for people that enjoy the content that gets put out, is that this is a hobby. This is a hobby game. This is a thing for most people that they're able to pick up and put down whenever they want to. And because we love it, and because a lot of us start making content because we love the game so much, puts us in a position where we can't do that, and that can be very quickly and very easily mentally taxing and create a lot of burnout. And sometimes, like I said, it's a hobby. So sometimes life has to take the priority, and the good thing is that, like James mentioned earlier, and like you've mentioned, Jared, already, you guys aren't gone forever, right? Like, you guys are still going to be hanging around in the community a little bit. You're just not going to see the podcast, like you guys have been doing for so long already, and the foundations that you guys have laid so far.
Yeah, 100%. We'll still be around.
Yeah. Speaking of which, still being around, I mean, and James mentioned this too, like you made this clear in your podcast, you're not going like too far, because you still run one of the bigger, if not the biggest, Lorcana Twitter account, Citizens of Lorcana, the OG. And one of the things that I love, like, there's so many things in Lorcana nowadays that we can attribute to the podcast or the Twitter account or you and James. And one of them is the how ubiquitous Flounder is. Flounder's everywhere. Flounder is a meme. Flounder is there he is. Real quick, why Flounder, and how did that become a thing?
Oh man, that's a great question. Originally it was just a joke. I mean, you look at this card. I mean, you look at this guy right here. I carry him in my phone. I have since the game came out. This guy has been with me since Gen Con. Okay, this guy's been places
from the beginning.
From the beginning. But I mean, he just looks so harmless. He looks so harmless, and for some reason, it tickled my funny bone thinking about Flounder taking on Maui, demigod, and so I just started creating these memes of like Maui loses to Flounder, and then superimposing Flounder on different memes, and it made me laugh. So I continued, and then it just kind of became my thing. Like, I didn't start out with the intention of making Flounder my thing, but it eventually did. And once it did, I just ran with it. I mean, I thought about wearing it, but I even had somebody at Gen Con make me a t-shirt that had like Flounder memes all over it. So it just kind of took on a life of its own. And now I have to continue its legacy.
Yeah, you should. There is one other person who wanted to comment on Flounder's ubiquity and thank you for making Flounder such a big deal. And I'm worried his camera's frozen, but I'm going to bring him in anyway. It's artist Brian Weiss.
I thought so. Oh, cool. I mean, we've talked over Instagram before, but I've never talked to you face to face.
I don't know why my camera's frozen.
Well, it's a great spot, Brian.
Like,
maybe the background isn't working.
Hi, Brian.
Hi.
It's good to see your frozen face.
Oh my gosh. Let me try to get rid of this thing. Hang on.
Oh no.
I'm just saying you had the perfect opportunity to have Flounder as your background, but that looks like a shark.
I was trying to like put myself in Flounder's shoes a bit. But obviously it didn't work, so.
Oh man, it was worth a try.
I had to. This was just a fun thing we couldn't pass up because Brian, at what point did you become aware that Flounder was like a thing?
I mean, maybe like a month after the game was released. I started getting messages from random people on Instagram like, "Hey, your Flounder's really popular. Would you mind signing this for me? Can I mail you one?" And I didn't really even know what they were talking about. I was just like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." But once I finally figured out that it became a meme because of Jared, it's just so flattering, and it's cool to hear how you gravitated toward it. I still don't know exactly why you gravitated toward that one, but I don't need to know. But
look how adorable he is. He's innocent, but he is deadly. That is a deadly little fish right there.
That is true.
No, it's super cool. I wasn't lucky enough to get an enchanted assignment or a legendary assignment, but to have this card become more than what I ever thought it was going to be because of you, it makes it really special to me. So,
and it's so cool. Funny to hear you say that, because I wondered. I'm like, is Brian, the artist of the card, is he gonna like find out about this and absolutely hate me? Like, is he gonna think I'm making fun of this card? Because I mean, in a way, like, yeah, I'm making fun of how silly it is, but he's such a good card. But
no, I love it. I personally love it, and honestly, for me, like, that Flounder card has become part of my identity as a Lorcana artist. So, yeah, I love it. This is a picture at Disney's Hollywood Studios last year. Heck and yeah. I had to take a selfie with that sculpture because of you.
Aww. That is so awesome.
I have some more pictures. I'm going to scroll through.
No, I was going to say, like, I love, Brian, you've become so prolific within the game of Lorcana, but every single time we see you, you do have this amazing bond with this character now. And I think so much of that is because Jared put him on the map for the community. It's incredible the number of flounder cards that we see you sign and we see you create, you know, your unbelievable oil paint, you know, paintings on. And so, yeah, I love
thank
that
you.
you've embraced this.
Thank you.
I think
Yeah,
the
it's
second one from the left on the top, I think that's the one that you made for me.
it's very similar to the one I made for you. But yeah, that's the one.
Okay. Yeah, man, that's like, you talk about chase cards. That's my grail. That's my grail right there.
That's cool.
Yeah. Who needs
Yeah,
an
for
enchanted
artists,
mini
you
deck?
know, it's like we spend a lot of time making these illustrations, and we're, you know, staring at the art for so long that, you know, as a maker and as an artist, you don't really ever really get to see or get the first impression of your own artwork, you know. So it's really fun to get to see this card through the lens of others, you know, and through people who enjoy the memes. But yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah. One other I just have to mention, because I love this. There's an Easter egg in here. Jared, you want to point it out?
I knew as soon as you threw this card up, Liam, that you couldn't pass the opportunity. There's a Ravensburger triangle in the window below the shark, the second pane from the left on the bottom. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I love it. I think it's a great.
Well,
I think
Leah
it's a
really
great
wanted to spot it at first.
Yeah. I thought it might be, and I was like, and then I started sending other artists notes. I was like, "Hey, I see this thing in this card. Is this a Robin?" And they're all like,
No,
that's just a line."
That was a thing for about a month. The number of artists he emailed, and all of them were like, no, that's just there's a stick in the corner. I don't know what to do. But I'm sure there's more out there. I just I've never found them. But I loved that one. Anyway, this is the first card you painted too, wasn't it?
One of them. Yeah, that's one of the
them.
earlier ones. I definitely have a few that I haven't shown anyone.
Noted. Because as soon as you do, everybody's like, "Can I buy it?" And you're like, "No."
That's not such a bad thing, though, right?
Yeah.
I do have to say, for those watching, if you have never seen one of Brian's paintings in real life, if you know a collector of artist paintings, or if you ever see Brian at a show, I highly, highly recommend just to admire his incredible, what he can do on such a small canvas. It's unreal.
Really hard to paint that small. Like, here's one I've started. I don't know how well it comes through the
let's see,
through the camera.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
But that's kind of how it starts, and then here's a.
Love her.
That looks so good.
So good.
Thank you. But yeah, it's really, really tricky to paint that small.
And
if you want,
oh my gosh,
a few more I can show you.
Oh my goodness.
What you do better than anybody else I've seen is you take the 3D characters, like the CG characters.
Oh yeah.
The way you paint them, like they look CG.
They really do.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. A lot of that comes from my background in classical drawing and painting. I studied oil painting for 5 years, and I've been painting for over 10 years. But yeah, I used to paint a lot of portraits, a lot of still lives and landscapes. But it's been fun to circle back and use that traditional skill that I spent a lot of time developing over those years. Because right now, I'm working primarily digitally. But yeah, once the altars became a thing, and it actually took me a long time to get comfortable drawing on one of these cards, because I always felt like I was going to ruin it,
Yeah.
But yeah, once I got over that, and then realized that I can use actual paint and not just the paint pens, yeah, it's taken off, and I really enjoy making them.
One of my favorite moments with you, Brian, was back in December. You had done this absolutely incredible Nick Wilde on a card. And we were at a show together, and Liam and I weren't necessarily together, but we kept apparently both passing your booth, and we were both in love with this card. And I remember at one point I walked up and I was like, Brian, can I just like hold it? Like, I just want to like really look at it. You're like, yeah, but it just sold. Like, you need to be careful. And I was like, okay. And I was like, God, I was like so bummed. I was like, who did it sell to? And you go, your husband. And I was like, yeah, I knew I loved him for a reason.
That's awesome. Yeah, Liam was walking by it a few times. He was eyeballing it.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Well, there's several others that I wanted to that all got scooped up, and I was like, all right, I gotta.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's cool. Anyway, yeah, we couldn't resist the opportunity here, as we were talking about Citizens' impact on Lorcana. Couldn't resist the opportunity to bring up Flounder and I don't know, connect you two. But anyway,
yeah, because
always be a legend.
Oh man, that means so much. Yeah, because we've only really spoken online, like on Instagram or something. So it's cool to finally meet you.
Likewise.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, that's what Liam's best at. He is great at connecting people.
True.
Maybe that's not what he's best at, but he's very good at it.
Yeah,
he's okay.
They have a tagline. I like surprises. I like surprise introductions. Those are the best. But anyway, thanks for joining us, Brian. Any like closing thoughts on like Flounder's popularity or just I don't know, Lorcana in general?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm super flattered that it was a meme. Hopefully there will be more opportunities to paint him for the game. I don't know.
Floodborn Flounder.
We'll see. That's what I'm hoping for.
Floodborn Enchanted Flounder. You got to shoot high, Jared. Got to shoot high.
To make it happen.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Well, before you go, if you're getting ready to leave, I just want to say thank you for creating such wonderful art for the game, but also just like your passion for Lorcana and the community. I know sometimes the fans can be a little much, but you seem to embrace it, and I think the Lorcana community as a whole tends to be pretty tame. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Creating the content. I'm sad to see you'll be taking a break, but it's obviously for noble reasons, and hope to see you again.
Yes, and maybe once COFL 2.0 comes out, maybe we'll have to have you on as our first guest. I don't know. Behind the scenes here.
Let's talk. Your people talk to my people.
All right.
Well, Brian, one last thing before we go. Where can people find you next? Are you doing any shows coming up?
Yeah, I'm going to be at the NostalgiaCon in Anaheim, June 6th through the 8th. And then I'm going to be doing a show, FangaeaCon in April 12th through the 13th in San Diego.
Amazing. Well, if you're in Southern California, go see those incredible pieces of art in person with Brian. So
thank you.
And if you're going, shoot me a note so maybe you can proxy buy a card or two for bro Liam here.
I got you.
Got to add to my collection. And I do have Brian's Instagram in the chat for everybody who's not on Twitter. Twitter, I can't send things to you. You're gonna have to go to where, but I'll put it in the show notes as well. But Brian, thanks so much. It was such a treat having you. Always. We'll have to do it again soon. I'd ask you what you have coming up for projects, but I know you can't talk about it. So.
Thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
Always
Thank you,
a pleasure, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Pleasure.
Love you guys. See you. Bye.
Brian is a treasure.
He's wonderful.
Yeah. Anyway, I could gush for a while.
That was something I was really excited about all day, Jared. When Liam told me you were coming on the show, I was like, Brian.
I'm not gonna lie. In the back of my mind all day, I was like, I bet you Liam brings on Brian. Like, I just had a feeling.
It was Aaron's idea, to be fair. Yeah.
I texted him and I was like, Liam, Brian Weiss. And he was like, what? And he goes, oh wait, Flounder. And I'm like, yeah, dude, catch up. Come on.
Yeah. And then I was like, yes.
Well, thank you, Aaron. That was a very pleasant surprise. Like I said, I'm very grateful that Brian let me run with that meme and didn't get upset. Because if he'd been like, "Stop it," I would have stopped it. But you know, Flounder's as much a part of Lorcana as anything else.
Yeah,
it's a thing.
Definitely the Flounder meme.
Yep. And when there is like a Floodborne Flounder one day, or like everybody's gonna point to you, like 100%.
There's got to be a callback.
Yeah, for sure.
I have a feeling if there's ever a Floodborne Flounder, people are. Wait, Jared, have you autographed Flounders? Is that like a thing?
I have. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Probably not as many as Brian, but yeah, when I went to NACC and the Vegas DLC, I definitely had people asking me to autograph Flounder.
And we don't have a dual signed Flounder for what purpose?
It never occurred to me. I don't know why. I now I'm. Oh man, the hole in my collection.
Well,
Right.
we can fix that
Gotta
problem
put a
with
placeholder there.
USPS.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to I'm come off the high of having Brian here and seeing him interact with Jared. I don't know. I feel like we've talked a lot about, you know, Citizens Enduring Impact and the early days. I will throw up this picture here because it makes me, you know, happy, sad. I don't know. And hopefully I'm not repeating myself, but for those watching, like, you know, there have been like different eras in Lorcana, and we're all super lucky now that there are so many amazing content creators in this space. And if you like casual play, or if you like, social play now, or if you like competitive play, if you like deck techs, if you like multiplayer, like there's somebody out there for you doing that thing, and you can find somebody to connect with, and that's bringing you the latest news, etc. They're out there. But there was an age where there wasn't much. And, you know, there were a whole host of original creators who took a leap and said, we're going to talk about this game, even though there's nothing to talk about. One, because we already love it, even if we've only seen 6 cards. And 2, because we see the potential that this game has to connect with fans and families and people. And so we want to be a part of it. And we want to help try to build the community from scratch. And a lot of those original creators have since, you know, for various reasons, because content creation is hard, frankly, you know, stopped. And so, I don't know, it was a different age back then. And I don't know, I'm just kind of reminiscing now fondly of that time.
Well, I made this meme when I finally committed to ending the podcast. It was my way of coping, I guess. All these people in this image, they were my friends, and I've seen them come and go, you know. So I didn't think my time would come as soon as it did, but here we are. And as you said, Liam, there's been an absolute proliferation of content creators. You can get a podcast for everything. And I heard you guys talking about in the beginning with James how I would, like, in the beginning days, whenever there's a new content creator or whenever there's anybody on Twitter who's starting to stand out, I would DM them, like I would build these relationships. And now, like, it's hard to keep up. And part of me feels guilty. But again, that was one of those things where I was like, I have to learn to let that go. I cannot, like, be in touch with everybody. But yeah, this was me coping. And it's sad that we're joining this list, but like I said, who knows? COFL 2.0 in the future, maybe in a long time.
And of course you're, you know, I know Brandon and Aaron will echo this. You're welcome anytime. If you want to talk Lorcana, scratch that itch. I have
to just take a couple more seconds to just highlight how much work and help Jared was to pretty much all of the creators early on, just to highlight that, myself included. I know there's a lot of creators, myself included, that like wouldn't have gotten as far as we did were it not for Jared just like shouting us out and, you know, sharing our content with all of the following that he had already built and, you know, worked really hard for as well. And like, I don't think we can emphasize enough just how vital and important Jared and Citizens of Lorcana was for the community.
Yeah, when you're a creator and you make something, even if it's just a tweet, even if it's just a sentence that you've thought of and you want to share with the world, like you do it in general, hoping that people will love it, like it, love it. And when you took the time, Jared, to echo what Brandon said, when you took the time at any point to share something, even just share something that somebody else had done, the fact that you had seen it and you shared it and you amplified it, like that made it was so encouraging, and that made people's day. Anyway, yeah, 8.1K followers next, can't be wrong.
No, and that's absolutely right. Like, I was never trying to be selfish with my platform that I found on Twitter. Like, I was dumbfounded that my platform on Twitter grew as big as it did. And like, I never tried to be selfish with it. So anytime there was a new creator, or like you said, you guys, anybody who put out a piece of content, I would try to retweet it to boost it, because I really just wanted everybody in the community to grow. Like, that was my ultimate goal. And it's been awesome. Like, I still remember Liam and Aaron. I remember your guys' first video. Brandon, I remember your first video. I mean, we were all rough around the edges at the beginning, but like, it's amazing to see how far everybody's grown. And the ones who are still going, you guys, both of you. I know, Brandon, you're not making a lot of solo content anymore, but you're still very involved in the content creator space. So it's been a true pleasure, and yeah, I'm gonna miss that. I'm gonna miss that a lot. But here we are.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where we would be, any of us, if it weren't for you. So, and you know, the podcast and the Twitter account. So, yep. While I wait for an answer from somebody before we move on to our final segment, I wanted to ask, what do you hope? Like, we talked about favorite memory. We talked a bit about why you all, started it. What do you hope, like, your legacy will be? What are you trying to leave behind, I guess, as far as the podcast goes?
I heard you ask James this, and
yeah.
Then my first thought was, the flounder memes, but we already talked about that. And James really hit it on the head too, about and I referenced this in our podcast too, Liam, when we were at Gamma, and Aaron talked about this too, just the intentional conversations. I still remember in that room that we were in, staying up, just talking about how important it was to set a positive tone for the community. And I feel like it's very evident, but for those who don't know, or if anybody ever questions, both of you guys, Liam and Aaron, like, you don't do this for the glory. I mean, the amount of time, the amount of effort, the amount of money that you've put into making this into what you have, you'll probably never recover that, but you do it because you love the game, you love the artist behind it, you love the community. And I feel like that's the approach that we try to take as well. Yeah. Like, that was the intention behind what we were doing. And definitely in the beginning, year and a half of the game, when the dust was still settling on who the good, competitive players were, I feel like that was the general tone within the community. Like, I think James said, the rising tide raises all boats. And I feel like that's the legacy. If that continues on, then that's the legacy right there.
Yeah.
Man, right in the field, Jared.
I know it's taking everything in me to not cry again. So.
Oh man. All right. All right. Let's finish up with our final fun segment. Shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
We're gonna do we're gonna stall while I get the video going. Here we go. Caroline.
Hi, Caroline.
I'm in yet another different setting this week.
And the show must go on.
I think we need to start playing like "Where in the World is here, Lorcana Bell?"
Honestly, no. Soon it will all be over. The move is completing this week, and I will have an office of my own again after like 2 years, which is amazing.
That's so exciting! Congratulations!
Congrats on the move and everything, and the house and all the things.
Well, it's not done yet.
Well, that's fair. It could fall down tomorrow. I don't know. Hope not.
Hope not. Anyway,
it's trivia time.
Moving on.
We oftentimes, like, I'm sure Jared knew this was coming. We oftentimes surprise our guests at the end
Surprise,
of the show
Jared!
with trivia. Jared,
I hope you knew this was coming, considering you were going to be the last one here tonight. I hope you knew.
I'm ready.
do you have a pin yet?
Do I have a pin?
Do you have an
Like an
trivia
Limiteers
pen?
pin.
Oh. No, I don't think I do,
I
actually.
was going to say, I don't know that Jared's ever been on to play. Maybe once Jared's been on to play trivia.
I've been on once, but I don't think I was on to play trivia. Maybe.
If you were, I think it was pre-pins.
Probably.
I can add you to the list of pins that I've yet to send out yet. If you win. Okay.
Wait, you're just assuming Jared's going to win trivia? That is presumptive of you.
Well, he's Jared.
Oh boy. All right.
Steven.
All flounder episode. Okay.
All right. What do you have for us tonight, Caroline?
Well, I have several questions that if people have been following Citizens for a while, they might recognize some callbacks in here to a classic episode a long time ago when not as many creators had exited space just yet, but not all of them are that way. So we'll start out with a couple of easier ones.
Brandon, I'm nervous.
Me too. I have no idea where this is going.
Me too.
What color is Gus Gus's hat from Cinderella?
I have an answer, but I don't know if it's right. Wait.
Orange is what's coming to my mind.
Ooh.
I was gonna either go with orange with Jared. I was thinking orange or green.
This is
I
the
was
easy.
thinking
Those were the
green.
two I was thinking of too. But this is
Like,
the easy
it is
question?
one of the two.
Well, then I'll go with Jared because he's better.
Well, Brandon said green.
Well,
Okay.
don't go off me. I'm not the person to be following the trivia.
Maybe it's because Jacques is the other color.
Yeah, I think one is green and one is orange. I just don't know. I can't picture which one is wearing which.
Right?
Let's go with orange. Let's go with green.
No, I know the nonverbal cues you're giving, Caroline, makes me believe that it's actually green.
It is
Final-
indeed green.
Final answer,
And
green.
I'm shocked that nobody in the chat has come up with this yet.
Sometimes they're a little bit delayed. Blade
are a
Magician,
little.
Speed it
here
up,
with-
chat.
with
Come
the
on.
Same, yeah.
No, I will say from the beginning of the episode, chat, we were like very behind y'all. And the reason I know that is because I can like hear Liam in here, but like hear you also online. And it was a bad delay tonight. So I apologize, chat.
Yeah.
Well, chat may not be as much of a lifeline for y'all tonight. So
It seems like Twitch is the closest. So shout out to you 10 people watching on Twitch.
We're just gonna
I
get a
appreciate
flood
you.
of like colored hats in 6 minutes. Or
Right,
something.
like, green.
Chartreuse.
Googly didn't want to give it away. Hey, that's what you're here for, Joe.
Googly,
I
that's
mean,
your job.
It's very convenient to say after the answer has been
That's
revealed.
true. That's true. Yeah.
Just teasing Googly. I believe you.
Yeah, I knew it the whole time. He's like, I just Googled that card yesterday. I know exactly what color his hat is.
Yeah.
Yes, there is only one Gus card in the game, so maybe you get a little bit of a pass. Speaking of cards in the game, how many Disney Lorcana cards include Flounder either in the art or in the flavor text?
Oh man.
The art or the flavor text? I mean, there's the 2 Flounder cards. There's one with Ariel and Flounder in it. And then I'm pretty sure the Hidden Ink caster has a Flounder quote. But is there more than that? Like, I feel like maybe there's one more.
Yeah. Well, so don't forget songs, because part of your
Yeah.
world probably has a Flounder in it.
That's what I was thinking. Part of your world.
And
Under the Sea has him in it too.
Oh. And then there's another one where Ariel's in her grotto. The art is by Matt Gazer, oddly enough, where she's looking up. It's is it? What's the Amber one? The Amber song, Not Under the Sea. It's is that part of your world?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's the song? What's the Sapphire song by Matt Gazer?
Treasures Untold.
Treasures Untold. Thank you. Treasures Untold. I think that has a Flounder in it too.
So 7? Is that what we're going with?
That's how many we've counted to this point. And then there's the 3 that we've forgotten.
It's like Caroline, blink twice when we
This
should
is as many as
stop
I've
opening
gotten.
fingers.
So the question is, you've gotten up to 7. How many do you think you're missing?
So we're missing some cards.
0. I think we're missing 0. Man,
Right.
I'm a bad Team Flounder rep here.
Joe from the chat, there are 3 Ariels, which we've counted 1, so that leaves 2 more.
Well, there's one in Ruby with Ariel holding the Inkcaster and Flounder's there with her. So
Is
I think
the
that's different than the
Sapphire?
one you were talking about.
Does the Sapphire Ariel have?
The Sapphire.
Or is that
You're
the
right.
one you're talking about? Yeah,
That's the one I'm talking
yeah,
about.
that's the item collector one. I'm pretty sure it has Flounder in it.
But the Ruby one does too, right?
Probably.
There's a Ruby.
I don't know because I haven't looked at that
Caroline
one.
looks like she's nodding.
It's-
Count the Ruby one. Count the Ruby one.
It's like a
Ruby
super
one.
rare card.
Does Spectacular Singer have a Flounder?
I don't think so.
I don't
I don't
think so.
think she does. I don't think Sonic Warrior does
I will
either.
say some of the ones that you have said actually don't have Flounder in them.
It's probably the ones I said.
Great.
So you can count the ones that you just said with Ariel, but you also can't count all the ones you've already said.
So if we think about how many we've forgotten and how many we got wrong,
We can land at
how
7
many will
again.
they balance out?
I feel like we're just gonna have to like settle on a number here that's higher than 7 and go with it. Who's a collector? Treasure collector. Both have Flounder. I've
Lost count.
I don't know.
Can we give a range? Can we see like
You're
7 to
very
10?
close with 7.
Yeah. So
Somewhere between 3 and 18. You know, there's probably
yeah. I feel like 9. I feel like clearly it's 9, right?
Yeah, I was gonna go with 9 too. So if we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, I feel like it's clearly 9.
You've jumped it a little bit. It's 8.
I'm gonna say
Yeah,
8.
It's 8. It's clearly 8.
Well,
It's
I was gonna say
clear-
8.
It's clearly 8.
You give me enough time.
it depends on if we're not counting the.
I was gonna say Riley also just chimed in again. Hidden Cove mentions Flounder,
didn't
which
think
is
about
one of the
Hidden
ones
Cove.
that
Oh,
y'all
yeah,
did.
that's yeah.
That's another flavor
Clearly-
text one.
8.
These are your easy questions.
Yeah.
This one's not an easy question. I just wanted to go ahead and give it to you.
It's obviously 8 cards.
The hardest Flounder
Obvious-
trivia question
yeah,
of all
obviously.
time.
Obviously, not what color is Flounder.
I mean, we could have done Flounder card facts, but Jared has the card on his person, so
Just one.
Always.
Just
Just one of the 8.
all right.
I do
Citizens
know
of
that card very
Lorcana
well,
has
though.
been a dynamic trio in the Lorcana space. There are several dynamic trios in the Disney space as well, but there's one in particular I picked out that I feel like y'all may or may not know the names of. So what are the names of the dynamic trio of gargoyles in The Hunchback of Notre Dame?
Oh.
See, I was originally going to
No
be
idea.
like Mickey, Donald, Goofy. Duh.
I got two.
my
Whenever you
gosh.
all are
You got
ready.
two? Okay.
Well,
I'm useless for this one, so
Jared, you got these? No. Victor and Hugo, as the author of The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yep.
And
And
what's the woman's name?
what?
It's the woman, the old lady, the Gladys.
What?
No.
No.
Aaron's right. It is an old lady.
Oh yeah.
She's got the birds that keep flying around her.
Huh? Is that a? I don't think it's a woman.
Yes, it is. It's voiced
It
by
is.
somebody
Oh.
very famous.
Oh, all right.
The little lore says Laverne.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that sounds right.
That's correct.
Riley in with
Yeah.
the save again.
Yeah,
She
that is correct.
Is it a
Laverne.
She is
woman?
your lifeline
Can
tonight.
I'm gonna just Google really fast
Is it
because
a
I can't
woman?
remember who voices Laverne, because it's like somebody really famous.
All right, redeem yourselves. What about the trio of hyenas in Lion
Oh.
King?
Ed, Shinzi, and Bonsai.
easy.
There it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Much better. Thank
You're
you.
making me feel about this tall right now.
The Musketeers. There. Victor Hugo.
All right.
I thought it was going to be the three caballeros. I thought you were going to ask
Yeah,
us
I
those
was-
names.
Yeah, I was
that
waiting
one.
for something like that.
Yeah.
Do you know the three caballeros?
Jose Carioca, Donald, and what's the other guy's name?
And
It has like pistol in it, right?
sure does.
I can't remember. I can't remember the full name though.
2.5. It's pretty good.
Panchito
That's what it was.
Pistoles.
That's pretty good.
I mean, I get credit for pistole.
I was gonna say that's pretty
That
good.
deep cut.
It's more than
not have
most
gotten
people.
that.
Me neither.
All right. Another little subtle callback in here. Who is the artist for the only mittens card in existence?
Like mittens from like Bolt mittens.
Yeah.
Okay. I was
Uh-huh.
like, I don't
I just
remember
got
like
that one in my head.
mittens in the
Calling
game.
a friend Liam. He's Mr. Artist here.
Yeah. This one's not. It's not Rachel Elise.
Y'all on your own.
Thanks, Riley.
Riley's like,
Golly. No.
What would be particularly special about?
Is it Brian?
I know. But
Sure is.
is that too
oh,
obvious?
sorry, Brian's not in the green room. Brian's
watching,
like, hey,
no, no. Brian's like,
You invited
is.
Brian for trivia, and I was like,
that
no.
would have been
Brian Weiss.
Brian would have been sitting here going
Obviously.
like, yeah, Liam, who is the artist?
yeah. Oh man. All right. Okay. Good one.
Wow. we have officially been humbled.
I'm just proud of Brandon that he had the card right there.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Been doing some sorting, so
All right. Last question here. How many days between official game release and Oswald being seen on a card?
oh my gosh.
How many days?
What kind of question is that?
How many days?
How many
What kind of question is the ISBN number on a Little Mermaid VHS?
In my defense, that was James' idea. Okay. That was James' idea. And I told him it was a bad
I'm
idea.
sorry. Are we in the middle of some sort of like redemption arc over here, Caroline?
Not for me.
how many guesses do we get?
You each get
Oh my
one. How's
God.
that?
Oh my God.
Man. Can you like
So-
set us
I don't know.
5 on
So it was revealed at the D20 with the D23 set, which came out
Mhm.
set
Wait, I'm
5,
sorry.
right?
Hold up. Are we talking about like big box store release, or are we talking LGS release?
I thought she was saying when it was first
Gen
seen.
Con release.
When Disney Lorcana was released versus when Oswald was
Correct.
seen
Are
on
we
a card.
talking LGS release? Are we talking Gen Con? Or are we
LGS.
so
talking big
August,
box?
August 18th then.
Yes, August 18th. Okay, I
Yes.
just wanted to.
God,
there were
this
3
is so
release
much
dates.
math.
I just wanted to clarify.
Fair, fair.
All right. And
Was
then
it a
you
year?
Not exactly, but you're close. You're in the ballpark.
because it was released.
Because it would have been for around set 4, right?
So we saw Oswald like 2 sets ahead
Gen Con or D23 is in August, right?
Yeah, it was in
Yeah.
August, but we saw it a couple of weeks before
early
Right.
Gen
August.
Con. Like, we
Was-
didn't
So
see it
little-
at Gen Con. We knew
A
it was
little
coming.
less than a year.
Yeah, that's what I would go with. So like maybe 300 and
60?
no,
355.
350?
349 days.
Okay. Take go one at a
Okay,
time,
I'm
please.
saving my guess.
355.
End of July.
Lower.
349.
Lower. Aaron.
344?
Lower. Brandon.
336.
So close. 334.
Ah,
Oh wow.
You kept going just a
That
little
was my
bit.
next guess. It was right on the tip of my tongue.
But yeah, you guys were all right in the ballpark.
That was tough.
Out of I think that was
Wait, does
pretty
Jared
good.
still get the pin even though we got the last one wrong?
Yes.
sorry,
Yes, Jared
Jared.
still
You don't
gets
get a
the
pin. I
pin.
feel like-
It's been great to have you.
I feel like I didn't get a
Thank you,
single
and
answer
good
right, though.
Jared still gets the pin because Jared has been
Yes.
amazing. It is a reward for overall lifetime achievement.
pen for
This
braving
is
the trivia.
like getting an honorary degree.
I'm now scared to ask you back. Like, you're gonna come back next time, and Caroline's gonna be like, "Question number 1: How many fish are in Lorcana?" You're gonna be like,
On any card.
on any card.
Well, what counts as a fish? Doesn't eel?
I don't
count as a
know. You're
fish?
the one asking the trivia questions.
Goodness gracious.
You gave me this power. This
I
is
know,
your
I
fault.
love it. I didn't realize the ISBN number on the Little Mermaid was a thing. So I'm
So what happened? We had
was-
Eric on one of our podcasts, and James was like, "We should ask him an impossibly hard question." Wait, what was it, Eric? Right?
It was
It was Jaunty.
Jaunty.
That's what it was. It
I
was
actually feel like
Jaunty.
I remember this episode.
And James was like, "Let's ask him the ISBN number of I can't even remember what number." And I told him.
it was the Little
I
Mermaid
told
on
him that was a bad
VHS.
idea. But so here I am throwing James under the bus. But after James said all these amazing things about me, okay, so let me just say, James was an awesome co-host. This podcast would not be where it was without James. His guiding, steady hand definitely helped see us through. And then Adara, she is like if James and I were the beating heart of the podcast, she was the soul. Like she really helped bring us together, and I would wish that we'd had her on more, but life.
Yeah.
The only reason I had to do the Jaunty callbacks was because I have to assume that episode was sometime around when I started doing this, because my first episode doing this, Liam brought Jaunty into the green room secretly as a lifeline for my players. And I had no idea it was happening until randomly, right before I went on, Jaunty chimed in on something in the private chat. And I was like, something's
We brought
happening
in a
here.
ringer.
And then Liam alluded to a lifeline later. And I was like, it's Jaunty. Dang it.
I like surprises.
Liam and I are the same. Connecting people is our superpower. So
I like surprises. Well, thanks for braving the trivia gauntlet, Jared, even though you didn't agree to it, but we threw you in the deep end.
That was rough.
with the
That
fishes.
was pretty brutal. Well,
Um,
thanks for having. It's been nice being a part of the Lorcana community. Thanks.
you're not getting off that easy.
See you never.
all right. Well, gosh,
I do have to say, Liam, can I, before we sign
Yes.
off for the evening, I just have to say, being here, being in this realm of creators who have been around for so long, and seeing folks in the chat who have come in after me, it's been almost a year for me. It's wild to see the way that the foundations that you have laid have led us to this room full of shoulder to shoulder people that Aaron was describing earlier. And I can't can't express to you the way that has positively affected me. Like, this community saved me in my darkest hour last year and has been with me as I have rebuilt my life over the last 6 months. So, though we have not had a whole lot of opportunity to be face to face and shoulder to shoulder, the work that you have done has significantly impacted my life. And so I just have to say thank you for that.
It's incredibly beautiful. Thank you.
And I think I'm probably not the only one who has a story like that in this community.
Well, that means a lot. I have goosebumps right now. I'm so happy.
I think you should be really proud of everything that you've done, and you've earned a break.
It's true.
Absolutely.
I don't know how to close the episode now. That is too good. You have earned a break, and we need to break because this episode is we are at time. But
I think we're all just sitting here stalling because I don't.
Yeah,
we want to say goodbye,
right?
Jared.
Yeah, none of us. Yeah, it was too fun.
Yeah.
All right, I'll see you all in the green room after. Brandon, before we sign off, what do we miss?
I don't think we missed anything else important.
I think we covered the big stuff and we covered the important stuff. So,
Aaron,
I don't think anything.
All right,
I think we're good.
This is an emotional sign off this week, everyone. All right.
All right. So I'll say one more thing.
Yes.
Carolyn, your story was so beautiful, and I think it's just a testament to the fact that you never know how far-reaching your effect can be. I mean, had you asked me when we first started that, we would connect with people and we'd connect with people and that, somehow something that I said or something that somebody that I helped said would help somebody like Caroline. Like, you never know. Like, it truly is like the rock in the pond with the ripple. You never know how far that ripple is going to go. And I hope that the positive ripple continues to emanate onward and outward from here to the rest of the community. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, with that, definitely follow Jared, Citizens of Lorcana, on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. You can find him there, and he'll still be around. We will be around and back next week at 8 o'clock for the next episode of Let's Talk Lorcana. We'll talk about all the Lorcana's goings-on, probably slightly less emotional, although who knows? Anything can happen between now and then. So, and with that, and